Evangelion is the word.
Right, in verse 2, or logos. So the gospel
Yes.
is the word in verse 2 there. And I was just checking the translations here that have gospel or good news, and then the good news is the message, is the
Yeah,
word.
that's it.
So what's interesting to me about that verse is that we're told by Paul in, I believe it's Galatians, that the gospel was preached beforehand to our father Abraham,
Yes.
the father of the faith. And here the writer is saying that the gospel was also preached beforehand to Israel. Is that right? Verse 2, for indeed the good news, the gospel, came
Yeah.
to us just
Yes.
as to them.
It's interesting. It was specially preached to Abraham as the father of the faithful, and we know the prophets will be in the kingdom. But that whole gospel idea was preached to those people in the wilderness, at least. Yes, absolutely. That is striking, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because we know very well as the faith of Abraham
Yeah,
that the
certainly.
gospel was preached to Abraham. But
Yeah.
the other interesting thing is that it's the one and the same gospel. The gospel has not changed. So from the days
Right.
of Abraham, from the days of the wilderness,
Yes.
and then later prophets and so on, it's the one and the same gospel being preached.
It is, yes.
Certainly, when John the Baptist shows up as one of the messengers of the new covenant,
Yes.
even though they're bringing in a new system, it's still the one and the same gospel, but
It
let's
is.
say under a different system. Is that right to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's somewhat obscure, obviously, but that gospel, as we've just been reading, was announced to those Israelites, and they didn't listen. They didn't pay attention. God was very angry with them, but the gospel was successfully preached to Abraham, who is the father of the faithful, and successfully preached to the prophets, who we know will be in the first resurrection. That's the criterion.
Yeah, and it says, Anthony, there in that verse 2, they heard the gospel,
Yes,
but they did not believe it. Therefore, it was not
that's right.
beneficial. If you hear the
Interesting.
gospel
Hmm.
and you're exposed to the gospel, but lack pistis, faith, you're in trouble. Now, faith is basically you obey God. You do what God tells you to do.
Yep.